on this podcast. Everywhere, every designer, every brand starts in the 1800s. So we are so familiar and love the 1800s. Love them. During the late 1800s, businesses began employing models to wear their clothing and meander around populated areas like racetracks, hoping the masses and mass media, while we're at it, would notice. Shop owners in Paris and London were among the first to send beautiful young women dressed in these samples to those horse racetracks, or perhaps opera premieres and the Bois de Boulogne. I should have Googled that to pronounce it, but who cares? Where socialites took their morning strolls, it was thought that organizing a social event would show off their latest couture designs and gain brand exposure. Even in the late 1800s, it's all about capitalism. So historians debate who truly popularized such events, though many credit English fashion designer Charles Frederick Worth in the late 1800s, 1860s. Charles Frederick Worth, the founder of House of Worth and founding father of haute couture, introduced the concept of sewing brand labels into clothing and offering a wide range of apparel. Before this, fashion houses and shops typically specialized in specific wardrobes, and Worth also founded the Chambre Syndicale de la Haute Couture in 1868, so essentially patenting the term haute couture. Charles Worth introduced the idea of holding fashion shows for his clients 4 times a year. At these shows, the models first began to walk down the runway in front of a large audience, who then selected their favorite designs, which were then launched into production. Other fashion houses began organizing their own shows, following the lead of Charles Worth. Another big name in the Fashion Week history game is Lucy Christina, aka Lady Duff Gordon. Her shows were very popular at the turn of the 19th century and the start of the 20th century. Also, Paul Poiret, who transformed walking down the runway into colorful shows resembling that of theatrical performances. At the turn of the 20th century, fashion shows were now being held beyond Europe's borders, such that the first fashion show in the US occurred in 1903 at Ehrlich Brothers department stores in New York City. Shows back then were invitation only, and photography was strictly prohibited for fear of brands and designers copying each other's works. In 1911, the show titled The 1002nd Night, a Persian Celebration, the show made global headlines, and then in the 1920s and 30s, the fashion show concept had become an integral part in social life, the fashion industry, creative expression as a whole. It really intertwined itself in American culture. Designers of the time made few attempts to unite under one show. That was until 1943, when American journalist Eleanor Lambert organized Press Week in New York to draw public and fashion media's attention to American designers. This New York event is considered the first ever Fashion Week, although it would remain named Press Week until 2001. But anywho, Eleanor Lambert consolidated all fashion shows in the city into one single mega event called Fashion Press Week. Over time, it took shape into the Fashion Week that we know and love today. Fashion Weeks run consecutively